Welcome back to the garage, guys. I'm Damien and this is the Binder Builder. On today's video, I'm going to take a little break from the normal and I wanted to answer a couple of questions that were posed to me in my comment section. So the first question was, why did I use and how did I choose the 2x4, its length and so forth for my bulkhead? And to be completely honest, the 2x4 box tube was actually not supposed to be used as a bulkhead. It was actually going to be used for the arms. As you saw, I used 1.5 by 3 box tube, and my initial plan was to use this 2x4. I know what you're thinking, boy, that's a really hefty piece of tube to have as your arm. Well, the thing was, and the reason for the length, is the box tube was actually going to take this ribs place, right? So I was going to do the front and the back and score it up, but the middle of it was going to be where the shocks inset into the box tube. So I wanted it nice and deep, was why I went to 4 inches. I would have used welding bungs as well as some tube and so forth, DOM, to bring in the bolts through the front going towards the back. And I would have just basically cut the top off so that the shocks could fit into this box. So it would have been literally this arm, but with the 2x4 in this place, and it would have been open in here so that the shocks could actually fit inside the box tube itself, inside the structure. The reason I didn't use it is because I went a different direction. Now, as far as using it for the bulkhead, I have it. So why not use it? It's overly strong. It's obviously enough size. Now that I've kind of further down the road, my plan is to actually stick this long side into the pan and weld it into the bottom of the pan. So as I jump, it's going to be hitting, as I jump and land, that it's going to spread that load of the blow of the landing across further in. That's why I'm glad I favored it to this side and have this extra so that I could actually move that and put that into the pan, the hump, and weld it across a longer distance, more surface area basically. So yeah, that's question number 1. Question number 2 is about caster, and the question was, how do you build caster into your A-arm setup? Now, first, I don't know if everyone knows what caster is, so let me just run it through. Now, caster is the thing that allows your wheels to return to center. If you were to let go in a full turn in your car and you let go of the wheel, it usually tracks back straight, or at least mostly straight. That's a function of caster. And so what it actually legally is, caster is actually the forward or rearward tilt of the steering axis when compared to vertical when viewed from the side. So it's right there just in case. In layman's terms, let's say you have an A-arm setup. This is your lower, let's say you have my A-arm setup. This is my lower heim, this is my upper heim. My steering knuckle has those points, right? So usually you set it up completely straight up and down, totally vertical, right? Now caster itself, this is the front, is which way it's tilting, okay? Looking at this diagram, this is the front of the vehicle this way. If this is leaning this way, it's positive caster. If it's leaning this way, it's negative caster. And what you want is positive caster. Now, I've heard people talk about caster from anywhere from 5, some guys have said all the way up to 15 degrees. I am not a 15-degree guy. I like sitting at about 6, 7. So basically, caster is just how much tilt that you have in your actual knuckle. And so basically you always want to have it tilted back, or positive caster, so the top is pointing towards the driver, right? And I say that way, pointing towards the driver, because then you could be on the opposite side and you want it to point towards the driver, right? So either way, that's positive caster. And what that does, it allows the tires to track straight when you let go of the steering wheel. If you have a bug or any vehicle that is really squirrely on the road, chances are it's a caster problem. If you've got some sloppiness in this, or for some reason because of worn components you're going negative caster, that's going to make it want to track nowhere. It'll follow grooves, it'll follow anything. The more positive caster you have, the better it'll track, and therefore you're not so white knuckling on the road and in the sand and things of that nature. That's what caster is. Now let's talk about how to build it into your system. All right, since caster is the forward or railroad tilt of the steering axis when compared to vertical, let's set these up to vertical. So here's my arms, looking at it from the side. Here's where one of the heims is going to be. Here's where the lower heim is going to be. What you want to do is set it up so they're right on top of each other. That is 0 because it's straight vertical, right? Can you see that? Hopefully it shows that in the video. What you want, since this is my upper arm and it's going to be in the front, and that'd be the front, I want this to be positive or tilted toward the driver. There's 2 ways you can do this. So you can move this arm and its mounting system back. That way the bulkhead could be at 0, could be completely flat, and then you build the caster into your arm placement. Or you could do like what I'm going to do, and like most of the guys that I know have done, is they're going to make everything 100% flat, 0 caster, right? So that's going to be 100%. This one's going to be right on top of that one. Then what you want to do is, since everything is completely welded, I have 0 degrees caster. What you do is you angle it up the degrees that you want. Now, you notice that when I built this system, you might remember the video where I put that up, made a line, and cut some, about 6 or 7 degrees in here. That's how I'm putting my caster into my suspension. I'm going to build everything perfectly flat, 0 degrees of caster, and then I'm going to take care of it by lifting the actual bulkhead above. And what that does is a couple things. One, it's an easy way to get caster. It's just shoop. The second is it actually picks up the nose of the bulkhead. So as I'm driving and things are coming at me, it's faced up. And this is exaggerated, obviously, but it's faced up, so as things hit, it deflects down. And wants to tend to go over things. If I made it flat and built it in the arms, where the arms come back, and get the caster that way, then this is lower. And with this being lower, I could center punch things and get caught up on more stuff. I'd rather have this up a couple inches and have that extra clearance, approach angle, whatever you want to call it. So that's the way I'm building caster into my suspension. The last question was in regards to my bulkhead. I wasn't ready to finish the bulkhead, and someone saw how it was, and they were like, wait a second, how is that going to work with it being so short? Shouldn't it be taller? So the question is, how was I going to set that up? I mean, it just seems like, you could do that. You'd have to cycle it and find out how that works. But so they were just confused. If this was my plan, what was I going to do with this? How was I going to mount it? Was it actually going to be like this, or was it going to be something else? And I'm not saying this is what I might do. This might be a little sneak peek of things to come, but I might make some brackets or something that sit on this bulkhead that hold said tube. Or I could do something like that. I'm not sure yet. I'm still contemplating it. See in a future video how this is going to work. Kind of let the cat out of the bag, I guess, a little prematurely. Anyway, I'm still working on this bulkhead, obviously, how it's going to work out, but this is another way to do it. And then, like I said before, as far as doing caster, I could build it into this by sliding the mounts forward or back so that I control my caster angle. So yeah, I'm not going to mount the top ones to the lower part of the bulkhead. I'm still building the bulkhead out, and we'll see that on a future video, because there's a lot other things besides holding the arms that the bulkhead needs to do. But anyway, but yeah, that might be a little hint on how I'm going to do it. But stay tuned, and we'll actually build all these parts out, and you'll see how it comes together. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for this video. I only had 3 real big questions that came up in the comments and in DMs, so I wanted to address those really fast, give you a quick sneak peek of what I'm building next. I will say, if I haven't answered your question, or if you have other questions or comments, please go ahead, man. My comment section is wide open. I answer pretty much all of them, and I'd be happy to hear from you. So I hope that this is giving you some food for thought, as well as a little sneak peek, and got you excited for what's coming. I know it got me excited for what's coming, because I hadn't put this together up until you saw me do that. So I'm actually glad it worked. So, but anyway, I'm Damien, and this is the Binder Builder. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff.